name is Brandon. For those who don't know me, I run the group Arizona Overdrive. It is a driver's enthusiast club here in Arizona that hosts runs all over the state, ranging from street cruises to weekend overlanding events. What we'll be doing today is starting something new where we actually take a vehicle out on one of our cruise routes, test drive it, and review a popular destination. To start this whole new web series off, I'm going to be reviewing the 2019 Veloster R-Spec. For those who don't know, I actually owned the 2014 Veloster back in the day, and it's one of my personal favorites. So today, like I said, we'll be driving down to Tucson and running up Mount Lemmon, stopping possibly at the Cookie Cabin, and then lunch at Frankie's Cheesesteaks. So join us today, and it should be pretty fun. Before we get out on our trip today, I want to briefly talk about the car. Like I said, this is a 2019 Veloster Turbo, but this is the R-Spec, so there are a couple different things about it. And I'll just go over some basic aspects of the vehicle. The Veloster is a 3-door vehicle. It comes with 18-inch wheels, 1 door on the driver's side. The R-Spec comes with some special trim styling, including the wheels, I believe. Once we make our way around the vehicle, the back has relatively good trunk space. We'll come in closer for a little bit of a view. Now, in the first generation, underneath the back here, if you can pan in, it actually came with just a can of slime. This one actually comes with a donut, so you actually get a little bit of an economic spare and not just a can of ooze. So it's got relatively decent trunk space. Like I said, the unique part about this car is it's got a 3rd door. So it's not very big in the back, but it's big enough that once you're in there, you can feel comfortable, and I'll actually demonstrate by getting in. Like I said, it's a little bit hard to get into, but once you're in, you actually have plenty of legroom for someone that's not 6 feet. The headroom is a little bit lacking, so if you're 6 feet or normal size and above, the back might not be the best spot for you. Like I said, it's a little bit difficult to get out, but once you're back there, you're pretty comfortable. Other than that, it's got very spacious front interior. This one actually comes with a manual transmission, which is optional for some of the models. So we'll be taking this down there, and it should be a pretty fun day. And it does come with a front mount intercooler and produces about 201 horsepower with the turbo, about 147 horsepower naturally aspirated. That's actually a boost up from the first generation, which only had 138 horsepower. So I think it's time I want to get out on the road before people get here. And we've got a lot of road to travel today. Tucson, and I just want to take a little bit of time to talk about the background of the Veloster. It first came about right around 2007 as a concept vehicle, but didn't hit the concept show until about 2011 and came out on the floor as a 2013 model. A couple little things about it is that base model has about 138 horsepower for the first gen, weighing just a little over 2,800 pounds, so it's very light and very nimble.
turbocharged model has 201 horsepower. For the 2019, the base models have they get a little bit of a bump. They go from 138 to 147 horsepower. The turbocharged model stays the same, although there is a model coming out soon called the N model. That's actually going to have about 275 horsepower. Hyundai put a lot more technology into the second generation instead of the first gen. This one has a lot of different sensors and modes to it. One is the front collision sensor, so basically if let's say that you're on cruise control and the person in front of you brakes hard, this will actually brake with you. Another mode is the lane keep assist mode. That's where, and this actually has that, that's where it uses sensors to keep you in your lane. It'll read the lines on the road and keep you in your lane. Another one that I'll talk about later on is a sport mode for the R-Spec that basically kind of hypes everything up a little bit. A couple things about this model. For the 2019, for the second gen, I should say, they redid the interior. The first generation interior was kind of wild. It had very sharp angles everywhere. For example, the air conditioning vents were all very sharp angles and different shape to the whole front dash. But it had a nice 8-inch display, push button start, a little bit of a carbon fiber on the sides. And on the second generation, it's a little bit more refined. So they went back in, they remodeled everything a little bit, toned things down, so it's a little bit more, I don't know, more domesticated, we'll say, from the Wildcat that the first gen was. The sharp angles and lines of the air conditioning vents, they changed them around. The one thing that I don't like about the interior in this thing, and I'm just going to throw this out there, is the display. On the first gen, it had a very nice in-dash display. You could get your readouts, mile per gallon, and all that with a subscription to Blue Link. This one doesn't have a subscription, but it was in-dash. And on this, it's like they redesigned the whole car, let's top to bottom. And on the day that they were going to present everything, they said, "Oh crap, we forgot about the display," and they just right there in front of everything. I think it's kind of an eyesore, if I'm honest. It looks out of place, like it doesn't belong there, like one of those old GPS units that you would sit on your dashboard. I noticed earlier today that the back of this unit here got very warm, and honestly, you could probably hook something on it. That's the only qualm I have about the inside of the car. Otherwise, it's got very nice accents to it. They redid the radio, the air conditioning, and everything. So it feels really comfortable. The first generation was a little bit stiff, in my opinion. I didn't like the seats. The first gen I have was a Veloster Turbo Ultimate, so it had the leather seats, and if I'm quite honest, they were, like I said, rather stiff. On a trip that I took down to Tucson, I actually had to have my passenger drive us back because it made my back hurt so much. So thankfully they were able to drive stick. This one, it's got the cloth interior because it's the R-Spec, but it definitely is a lot more comfortable. I haven't really played around with the seats too much. I'm hoping somebody will let me over. Maybe. But they put enough technology into this car to make Tony Stark turn his head twice. So they've done a great job at putting a little bit more modern technology and creature comfort into this. And we're going to try out the lane assist, or the lane keep assist. So basically it reads your hands on the steering wheel, and it reads the lines on the road. We're going to give it a shot real quick. So it shows up on the dashboard as green. That basically shows you that it's there. pretty incredible because the car is literally driving itself right now. I mean, that's incredible that this is able to do it. Now, with that, you do have to keep your hands somewhat near, because within a certain amount of time, if it senses that your hands aren't on the steering wheel, it'll disconnect it. So we're going around a turn right now. God, it's literally, the wheel's turning. Now, it can do this because it's an electronic steering. That's part of the performance as well, I'll talk about later on. But basically, because it's electronic steering, they're able to put this feature on here, which is pretty cool. I mean, if you're really, I mean, I shouldn't make excuses for people why they can't drive, but it's cool because if you're going along, you can basically go along like this, and that's enough weight on the steering wheel to show that you're still somewhat driving, even though I'm literally not doing anything, and I could cruise all the way back to Phoenix with my hands like this, and all I have to do is worry about braking in case somebody decides that they're going to slam on their brakes. Otherwise, I can literally feel the wheel turning right now, which is bizarre because I've never driven a car like that. I'm cruising along at the speed limit, and the car is pretty much doing all the work for me. You can feel it turn the wheel when it gets close to the line, and we're going around it. That's crazy. That's crazy. So, but all in all, I really do like the changes that they've made to this. There are a couple things that I probably wouldn't have done. The main thing being that, and a little bit with the body, that I kind of like how more unique the first gen was. But overall, I'm pretty excited to see how this does on the front way to Mount Lemmon. So we'll see what happens when we get there. Aspects of the new Veloster. Like I said, we are in an R-Spec, so a couple of the things are going to differ from the Turbo Base and the Ultimate. One of the things that the R-Spec has is different modes. Right now we're in just normal mode, normal driving. Great for everyday use, highway use, but if you so happen to find yourself on a mountain road on Mount Lemmon in Tucson, Arizona, it's not enough sometimes to just have normal mode. So we have a sport mode on this that basically what it does is it wakes up the whole vehicle. The steering on these cars is electronic. It's not hydraulic, so when you press the sport mode, it stiffens up the suspension slightly. It increases your throttle response and stiffens up the steering. So we're going to go ahead and give this a try. And basically, we are now in sport mode. I'm going to give the car in front of me a little bit of a head start here. I'm only governed by how fast the vehicle in front of me is, and speed limit, of course. But going around this corner here, I can definitely feel that it stiffens things up. It is quite congested out here today, and it is turn the air conditioning on. I'll talk for a minute. One of the things that I love about this vehicle is that the Veloster is somewhat of an underdog. You know, it doesn't look very fast. It looks almost kind of like a little brother to the Accent, which kind of it is. But the great thing about this is I wouldn't call it a sleeper, but like I said, it's an underdog. My old Veloster that I had, I did a little bit of suspension work too. I put on the front strut bar, rear sway bar, 4-point brace. I did lower it later on, but just doing those 3 things in itself made a world of difference on a car. It completely night and day difference in suspension and handling characteristics. I also did go ahead and put wider tires on it. The stock tires were 215, 4018s I believe, and the new ones come stock. So this model generation comes stock with 225s. Even just upgrading the tires, which was the first thing that I did, you notice an improvement there. So, but I can definitely feel the increased grip. I can feel the increase in throttle response and the characteristics of the car. So it does definitely help. So we're still making our way up to the top, and I think if it's not too busy, we're going to go check out the cookie cabin and then make our way back down for some lunch. So we'll see you then. So here we are along the ridge up on Mount Lemmon, and we're getting closer to the top. And this is one of my favorite parts of this because you're up on top of the ridge, you have beautiful views, and with the cloud coverage today, we might actually be in the clouds a little bit. But this is a very beautiful drive. It allows you to have a lot of good, you know, cornering with your vehicle, and it's fun. It's just that you're limited once again by the speed limit naturally, and also by the vehicle in front of you. You can definitely feel the throttle response. It feels like it grips a little bit better on the road. And it's a relatively easy car to drive. And this feels as miles ahead of what the first gen was stock. I mean, this feels really sticky on the road. And you can really feel it pull too, which I really like. Really. But we're almost to the top here. This is a really pretty drive, especially this time of the year. And we're gonna see if the cookie cabin's very busy. If not, we'll stop there and get a cookie, and then head back to town. Here at the cookie cabin, and this is one of the more popular destinations on this cruise. It's been around for a while, and they offer amazing cookies, and usually the line is pretty much out to here, but today we're lucky. And they just opened an hour ago.
I'm originally from the Philadelphia area back east, and one thing that I like to do out here is find places that remind me of home. That brings us to a famous restaurant here in Tucson called Frankie's South Philly Cheesesteaks. We're here today to go ahead and have something to eat for lunch. Phoenix, and it's been a pleasure taking this Veloster out and getting to know it a little bit today. Hyundai did a great job at doing a few updates to it, putting a little bit more tech into it as far as things like the lane keep assist, front collision detection, as far as their new enhanced system for the R-Spec, as far as the performance modes that they offer. They did a great job at refining the vehicle over the first generation, and I wanted to take the time to thank Chapman Hyundai for providing us with this vehicle today. And here to talk a little bit about the dealership is Jose.
How you guys doing? Well, it was a pleasure working with you, Brandon. I had a great time. Mount Lemmon was amazing. We stopped a couple places. Great time. I recommend everybody go out there. Please don't be afraid to come and visit us. We're at 6601 East McDowell Road. Our salesmen are not pushy. Just come and say hi. I'm one of the master techs. If you ever want to consider getting into the Hyundai family, come on down. We'll make sure that we get you in a test drive. No pressure, no hassle. We'll get you in whatever car you want. And come and test drive it. It's an amazing drive, I promise you.